over 12 million people watched my next guest be crowned the Strictly Come Dancing champion alongside Oti Mabuse. But now Bill Bailey's returning to his comedic roots as he prepares to take his stand-up tour to the Royal Opera House. How many shirts do you get through? Because you never stand still for what is meant to be stand-up, right?
No, that's a very energetic bunch of clips you got there.
Yes.
That's great. I love that. That's fantastic.
Are you like that for the entire set?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. I mean, it's pretty non-stop all the way through because there's so much in the show. There's a lot of music and a lot of stories to tell, and I like to sort of act out the stories. And
you're
so
a very physical person,
yeah,
aren't you?
so it's quite a physical comedy as well.
And what I love is about the fact that you're going back to the Royal Opera House, and that is very special and important to you, isn't it?
It is. Well, I mean, the Royal Opera House is, I mean, it's a beautiful venue. It's iconic. And, you know, I mean, I'm quite sort of honoured to be allowed to perform there because they don't normally let comics in. You know?
Are you the first comedian last year to have performed there? Is that right?
Well, no, technically no, because the very first comedian was Jackie Mason, you know, the American comic.
Wow.
And he performed there. He did one night, I think, there back about 30 years ago. And but since then, they've never had a comedian in there. So I'm the sort of first British comedian to be allowed to play there.
That's extraordinary.
Yeah.
And was that did you have that ambition for it to be there? Is it about breaking down that sort of barrier between what we go to?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think we have a sort of, you know, a perception of opera as being quite highbrow.
Yeah.
And maybe, you know, comedy is a way of getting more people to come into the Opera House and maybe to experience it and then maybe go back and see some opera there. Well,
it's extraordinary because you are... I mean, I was over the weekend, you know, and last week we said, oh, Bill Bailey's going to be on Monday. Yeah. And people go, oh, who have you got on Monday? It's Bill Bailey. Oh, my God, he's a genius, isn't he? Just, everyone knows that it's not just comedy with you, is it? The musicality. Yeah. Your brain is such an extraordinary instrument, isn't it, in you? Like
the music's always been a big part of it, I think. And I think that it's a way to reach people and to get across ideas in a way that sometimes words, you know, can't. See, look at this. I don't know what the...
It's just... What are you doing here? What was... And you have all your musical instruments in transit at the moment. You were going to bring something on, weren't you?
That's right, but they're all in a truck somewhere. They're tuned car horns, which is the only set in the world. Just want to say that. I've got the tuned cowbells. I had to get them from a place in Switzerland that sells tuned... They actually are cowbells that go round a cow's neck. And so, yeah, I mean, I've always loved music. I've always loved comedy. I love spoken word, but I love music as well. So it's the show is a real combination.
And when you're coming up with stuff, does it come to you in a musical way? What is the first germ of, like, oh, I've got something here?
Well, I suppose that the idea comes first. You know, the idea of, like, say, there's a bit in the show where I talk about being in lockdown and we spend a lot of time on video calls.
Yes.
And so the Skype theme became a regular feature in our house. And I was thinking, let's try and see if there's a way of turning that into a dance track, you know? So then I just, once you get the idea, then it's about the execution of it. So there's a big sort of rave anthem
I love
in the
it.
show.
And your wife, you've been together for how many years now?
Well, a long time, 30-odd years.
A very long time.
Yeah.
How does she treat all your musical experimentation in the house? Like, do you have a spot where you've got to go, or is she...
Yes. No, I have to go to my shed.
You're banished?
Yes. I go to the shed and I perform in there. And then I found...
And do you practice on her? Like, do you go, listen to this? Yeah,
I say, I try this. And she's very good, actually. She's very, very astute critic.
Is she?
And then I found, and I was going to say was, I found her one, it was during the lockdown, and she was soundproofing the shed a bit more. She said, I'm just putting some more
duvets and stuff everywhere.
Just keep it down a bit, you know.
It's incredible. And do you feel more nervous about her listening to something for the first time, or is it the sort of... Because you've had this experience where you haven't been able to trial out because of COVID at the time. You couldn't test it out. You just had to go out and do it for the thousands of people.
Exactly. It's very much so. It's quite a sort of, as I say, it's quite a high wire act now because there's normally that thing of trying out in little venues, it was not available. So I would be literally going big venues and think, well,
and
here we go.
the first time you'd spoken it out loud was in front of 15,000 people or something.
Absolutely, yeah. So it's quite...
and you don't get nervous, but I bet, is that the first time you think, oh, I'm a tiny bit nervous now?
A bit nervous, yeah. It's a real adrenaline rush to do that. And I guess I'm slightly addicted to that anyway.
Exactly.
I'm a bit of a sort of, you know, adrenaline junkie.
And I know that you miss your great pal, Sean Locke.
Yeah.
And it was a complete shock to most people who were huge fans. Tell us a bit about what you're doing to remember him.
Well, I'm going to be walking a section of the South West Coast Path, 100 miles, to commemorate Sean, because it'll be a year in August since he died, which is, I can't believe the time's gone that fast.
No.
And so it'll be a way to, I'll be walking with Sean's family and friends, and we're just going to be telling stories, remembering him, celebrating his life.
And when you think about Sean, you think, what is it that makes you giggle when you think about him? Like, what was his funny bone?
You know, Sean had a brilliant way of just... He had these brilliant sort of mind pictures that he would, you know, create. And he would, you know, take you down one alleyway. You think, oh, we're going this way. And then he'd just, like, pull the rug on you. He had a unique comic.
You must miss him as a mate,
I do.
You know.
I miss him a lot. We spoke a lot, or we would text or speak on the phone all the time.
Yeah.
And it's great having someone to just bounce ideas off and just...
Because it's quite lonely, isn't it, when you're a comedian? At your level, there aren't that many of you around who can really share comfortably without it, you know.
That's right, yes.
Yeah.
And it's, yes, it's a huge gap in my life.
Yeah,
you know, but we're celebrating him in this walk for Macmillan.
I think that's
support.
fantastic. Yeah, that's absolutely wonderful. You're hoping to raise a bit of money on
Hopefully,
the way.
yeah.
Yeah, very good. And lots of people have seen you and Oti back together.
Yeah.
On Gogglebox.
That's right.
What was that like?
Oh, it was great fun. I mean, we just went straight back into the fun of the rehearsal room. I mean, this house we were recording in, there was a piano in it. We were Oti's dancing around. I'm playing the piano. It was great fun to be reunited.
Now, as I know, the dancer is the boss when you're on Strictly.
Yeah.
You know, you think you're going in there as a celebrity, but you're not.
No.
The dancer is the world.
Absolutely.
In Gogglebox, did the power dynamic change a little bit? Was it more equal?
A little bit, yes. I mean, it was very much like, you know, in the dancing, it was like, no, we're doing this. And, you know, as you know, we were just sort of like kind of students. We were told what to do.
Well, I remember you rehearsing in a side room and I popped my head round and you had like a piece of wood strapped to your back.
Yeah, no,
I was like, what's she doing to you?
I had 2 bits of wood strapped to my back to keep my posture up.
Yeah, and it worked,
It did work, obviously, but it felt...
But what I was thinking
cruel.
was, when I saw you and Oti back together, I thought, yeah, you're so musical, genius. You've got pitch-perfect hearing, haven't you?
Perfect pitch,
I mean, it's an
yeah.
incredible thing that you have. And, of course, she is world's greatest dancers. Couldn't you do a show together, like a stage show together?
That would be good, wouldn't it? Yeah. Bill and Oti's World of Music and Dance.
Don't you think? It's as though you've not thought about it before. Is that something you would consider,
Definitely.
the two of you?
I'd say so, yeah.
I think it'd be an amazing thing to see. You've got a lot of... You're going off to Australia soon, so you've got a lot on your plate, though.
Yes, a bit of touring and, you know, a lot of stuff is catching up from shows that were, you know, postponed because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
So eventually we'll work my way through those gigs and then, yeah, we'll see what happens. You know,
so you're en route... that's the name of the...
En route to normal was the name of the tour.
Normal.
And this is en route to the Royal Opera House.
En route to the Royal Opera House. When do you start there?
11th of August, and I'm there till the 14th.
Well, super stuff. What a treat for anybody who gets to see you live. I mean, it's an experience you won't forget. Thank you so much, Bill.
Thanks, Ranvir.
Don't forget, you can watch full episodes of Lorraine on the ITV Hub and all the best clips, compilations and playlists right here on our channel. Just subscribe now and you'll never miss an upload. Click here to watch another video similar to this one, or click here to head to our channel's homepage to explore all of our exciting videos.